Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing good. So, after my couple of last videos that I posted, I got quite a few requests asking for uploading or maybe sharing the map editor, right, and how to install it, so that you all can maybe start working on creating some maps, learn how it works, right? Who are pretty new, right? And some of the folks have also reached out like, how do I install Sterling Integrator, right, on Windows? So I'll try to answer most of those queries, okay, by just giving you today a quick demo of how do you install Map Editor, right, in your local laptop, and then how you can compile a map at after you create a map. So having said that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and quickly show you how to install a map editor, right? And also I want to request all of you that in case you are looking for the map editor install file, please feel free to post a comment, and I will try to DM you a drive link from where you can download the map editor exe file and the standards exe file, which you can use in your own laptop to install and start creating some simple maps, right, if you want to learn. So let me share my screen. So in this, what I have done is I've actually saved the map editor exe file, if you see over here, and then I have stored the Sterling Integrator Standard exe file. You need both of them, right? Because if you just install map editor and you don't have the standards installed on top of that, it's like if you want to create a map, you need to basically select like EDI standards or tradercom standards, things like that. You need those standards installed on top of the map editor, so you can select them when you try to create a draft version of the map, right? Now the map editor installation file is pretty easy, like any regular software that you install in your laptop. Is you run as an administrator. If you're already an administrator, it shouldn't prompt you for providing your credentials. But once you provide your credentials, it's going to prepare the map editor setup. And once it is done, it's going to show you this installation setup. And then all you need to do is you need to click on next, select a location. If you are fine with the destination folder, the default, you can just keep it as it is, or you can select a different location, click next, and it's just going to install the map editor, and you just finish it. Once the map editor installation is finished, you need to, before you open the map editor, you need to install the standards, right? So that's another file. Now if you run as an administrator, and similar to the previous one, is going to start setting up the install widget. And then you're going to get this kind of page, same to the previous one. It says which one you want to install, Sterling Integrator Standards or HIPAA Standards. You can select both of them, click next, and it's going to install all the standards, right, for both HIPAA and the Sterling Integrator like EDI and all that, Edify, Textual. So once this is completed, you just click on finish. So yeah, now you're done with the map editor installation. Now what I've done is, if you open here and open your map editor, and let's say run as an administrator, it's going to open a page like this, right? This is your map editor console. Now I have, for the sake of time, I already have a map that I created long back. I'm going to open that map file, and then I'm going to just compile it, right? I don't have a running server, as I mentioned earlier, okay, that I can run the map file, okay, through the server that you need at the back end, right? But I can at least show you the few other steps, okay, before even you do that, just for your understanding, right? So before I open the existing map file, which I've already saved, like if you see over here, there's a file called outbound.map, like 810 that's like 810 means invoices. It's an outbound file. X12 is the version, right? So it's an outbound map, and the extension is .map. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this map file, but before that I'm going to show you, if you want to start creating a new map right from scratch, all you need to do is you come here and click on new, and then you need to select what kind of map you're creating, keep it as it is, but then let's say test map, right? You need to have a good naming convention with like the direction, what format it is, right? What kind of message type it is and all that. But for the sake of time, I'm just showing you a test map, right? You click next, then it says you need to define the input format, right? The first thing. So you're going to do is like create a new data format using this syntax, or load the data format from a safe definition. Let's say you have like if the input format is an XML file, right? Then you need the DTD or XSD, right, which defines the XML structure. So you need to have that somewhere saved so that you can like use this, load the data format from a safe definition, and browse the XSD file, right? That's how you do it. But let's say here, if I select create a new data format using this syntax, right, and then if you select the drop down, just because you have installed the EDI, the standards, right? The one that I showed right after the map editor. That's why you're seeing all these options, or else these options won't even appear here. So that's very important. So for me, let's say if I'm creating a map where the input is a EDI file, right? For example, so I'm going to select the delimited EDI, which consists of X12, Edifact, trader forms, right? And then I have an option of like customizing that. I'm not going to do that. Now, if I click next, it says what's the output format, right? That's but then before that, let me show you one quick thing, right? If I click on customize, right, you need to see, okay, you can select HIPAA transaction. It's not okay, for example, for my scenario, but I need to go and like there are Sterling integrator standards. You select that, then you need to select, like this is important, right? Like you need to select what is the standard, right? Let's say for me, I select X12. Now you need to use what version. So there are different versions. Let's say for me, I select 5010 version, right? What's the message type, right? Let's say it's a purchase order. So purchase orders in retail are typically 850s, right? So let me select an 850, for example, purchase order, right? Click next and click finish. So it's going to read the 850 as an input. Output format, you can select, let's say, positional, right? If it is like an application file. So maybe an XML. If the target is an XML, you can select XML as well, right? Or like a CSV file, like a delimited file. So you can select all that. And then you click on finish. Once you finish, okay, if you see there's like two side of it. One is the left hand side, one is the right hand side. Left hand side is basically the source side, where you can like expand all these sub sections, like you can expand all of them, right? Some are not highlighted, some are highlighted. Okay, you can enable them, you can disable them, all that. And then on the right hand side you have the output format. Because we haven't defined any output format, we have to like create the output format. Or if you have XSD file, you can open the file definition, and then you can load the output structure, and then you start doing the map, right, from left hand side to the right hand side, from source to the target, right. That's how you start creating the map, and you link it, you create extended rules, standard rules, session rules, right, and all that. But for our scenario, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the existing file that I've already saved in my local. uh, let's see. And this is the, so if you see, this is the existing map, map, okay, which has no errors because it's a tested map. And if you see over here on the input side, it's like seeing the details of these segments, EDI, DC40 to EDL. Okay, if anyone has worked earlier on SAP system, this is the IDOC format, right, intermediate document. So here, okay, in this scenario, it's an ERP system, ARP SAP system, which is generating some IDOC. Okay, and what we are doing is we are taking that file, as this is an outbound file, okay, and it's going to an external partner. But before it goes out, we are converting it into a 810 X12 file, right? That's why you are seeing on the input side the IDOC, and the output side it's a, 810 file, right? And then typically, if you see over here, okay, there is an option. I'm going to show you right now. Let me show you that. So you have an option of expand all, right? So it's going to expand all of them, right? You can do that on this side. You can expand all the sections, but then you can also do show active only, right? So it's going to show only the active ones, but you don't see the linkings, right? That how it is connecting to the right hand side, how the data is transferring and then getting converted, right? So there's an option over here. uh, let's see, in the link here is mentioned show no links, right? You'll do it, show links to all visual formats. That's how you will start seeing all the corresponding mapping, right? If you scroll on this side and if you scroll this side, you should be able to see all the mapping. And then let's say you want to see the uh, extended rule. You can see over here on the extended rule, like if you have any extended rule, if you have a standard rule, it's going to show you over here, right? All those things, right? So you can do all that, right? You can even directly click on extended rule and see those things, right? So if you see on the, so basically this is how, like, I just wanted to show you the interface today, right? And then the next thing, like once you have created the map, right, the first thing that we do is it's a .map file, right? It can be .map or .mxl. There are two options, okay, in which you can save the map, right? After you have saved the map, you need to compile the map before even you test it, right? So when you click on compile, it's going to create a .txo file. That's a compiled version of the map file, right? And you can even save it wherever you want, right? Let's say I'm going to save it in the same location. So it's a txo file, right? And if you see, this is going to give you, like, if there is any error, okay, any warnings, all that, okay, and you want to troubleshoot all that, okay, is going to show up here. Once it's done, okay, the compilation, okay, and the txo file, if you go here, you see there's a txo file that got generated. But then once it is done, the next thing is you need to run it against the server, like the Sterling integrator server, because to do a map test, you need the Sterling integrator server details. So if you click on map test, it's going to ask you what is a login server and dashboard. That's where you give the Sterling integrator URL and the dashboard. Typically, if the Sterling integrator is installed on base port like 10,000, the port that you need to define for doing the map testing is has to be plus 33 in addition to the base port. So if it is 10,000, the map testing port number would be 10,033, because there is a HTTP server, okay, on that side, okay, which is accepting this request from the map editor. And then you need to give the regular username and password that you have. Yeah, and then you need to browse the translation object, which is the TXO file. So you need to load your TXO file here. And then you need to have an input file, right, that you're converting. And your input file here, in this case, if you see, the input format is an IDOC. So you need to have the IDOC file, right, okay, as an input, right? And then once you have that, okay, is where you need to then do the run test, right? And it's going to then successfully or unsuccessfully do the map translation, give you an XML file, okay, as an output, right? If you see over here, and I've saved it, because I cannot run it right now because I don't have a server right now which is up and running. But for the sake of your understanding, once you run it, everything runs successfully, you get these two files, okay, in the same location. One is the map text result, and then one is the XML file, right? This result is basically the output of the translation. So if you double click on it, if you see over here, I'm gonna bring this. This is the EDI 810 file, right? That got created, right? BIG, CUR, N1, N3. If you see the uh, on this side, the first segment is BIG, right? So this is the output, okay, that gets generated based on the input that you're giving here. It's an IDOC, right? And then the other important, like if there's any error, right, you need to actually, as a developer, you need to also ensure that you're looking into the XML file. This XML file actually gives you detail, like for example, let me open it in Internet Explorer that way, or maybe let's see. Let's use another app. Maybe Edge. Okay, so over here, if you see, it says translation report contains no data. That means there is no error, right? Okay, if there's an error, okay, it's going to show up with all the errors, warnings, and everything over here. Because this is successfully tested map, you don't find any errors. But this is the report, okay, that we always refer as a developer to debug our map and fix them and rerun it, okay, and try to remove all the errors. So with that, okay, I'm going to end my video today. But as I mentioned, that if you need this map editor exe file and the standard file for you to start working on creating any maps, please feel free to drop a comment, and I will try to provide a drive link through a direct message to all of you, and then you can start developing map. So with that, I'm gonna say all of you a very good weekend, okay, and hope to see you next week with some more videos. Thank you.